Okay, so we're in the middle of severe weather season right now. I don't know if you know this, but because of that and my increasing anxiety about the weather, I know a lot about tornadoes now. Let's talk about it. So I live in southeastern Kentucky, right next to the Appalachian Mountains. We will not have a tornado probably ever. It is so hilly over here that it's probably not even going to be a concern for the rest of time. And like, we have a little bit of a flooding problem, but I live on a hill, so like, even that is like next to nothing. But, you know, anxiety is, for the most part, irrational. So I can't really help that I am increasingly and constantly concerned about a potential tornado hitting my house and, I don't know, killing me, destroying my house and taking my things, you know. So for like a good chunk of March, I have taken refuge in the basement a few times because of the wind. The first time there was a tornado warning. I don't remember how like violent the winds were. I just remember that we still had electricity, the warning was miles away, and all I was concerned about was getting through the tutorial of Sonic Unleashed. Like, I gathered some, like, stuffed animals and blankets and pillows and stuff into the basement with my parents, and then continued to play Sonic Unleashed. It did get pretty scary there for a second, though, because, you know, tornadoes, you know, you hear that they sound like a freight train. And, like, it got kind of loud outside for a little bit. And then, like, as fast as it got loud, I should say, it got quiet. So, like, it probably didn't even hit anywhere near us. It was probably just the wind. If it was near us, I'd say it was probably either to the north or to the west, farther away from the Appalachian Mountains, or possibly to the south, because Tennessee is a lot more susceptible to tornadoes than Kentucky is. But, like, you know, too involved in my special interests to really care. The second time, however, was a different story. I woke up in the middle of the night at like 1 a.m, because the wind was so loud. I think it peaked at like just south of 30 miles per hour, which isn't enough for an EF0, I believe. Or no, wait. Maybe it is enough for an EF0. It's not enough for an EF1. So not really a threat for the most part. So when I woke up, it was about 16 miles per hour, which not enough for an EF0. And I was riddled with anxiety. My parents woke up because of the noise as well, and they were like, if you're really that scared about it, we can go to the basement. And I was like, yes. And so we stayed in the basement for like an hour or two, and it eventually dropped back down to 16 miles per hour wind. But it took me a while to get back to sleep. And then I had to go to church in the next morning. So that was fun. And like I forgot a detail, but the electricity would flicker on and off. It was out for about an hour or two, and then came back at about 5 a.m. And only then was I able to go back to sleep. And, like, since then, I have taken an interest in the weather, for better or for worse. And, like, I've learned all the lingo. I know what a trough is. I know what a low pressure system is. Like ECHO and other acronyms. And so this is what I like to call anxiety-ridden research, where basically my anxiety takes over any kind of rationality and really any kind of function of my brain. So I just go into an internet rabbit hole of, like, a bunch of questions, looking at links, looking at resources. Usually this happens when I'm concerned about my health. This is maybe the first time it's not been interpersonal, I should say. And so, like, this past low pressure system, as I'm recording, April 30th, or not April 30th, March 30th, like, we were in the 5% tornado risk, which, in the history of tornado risks, that's basically, if there were to be one, it would be something south of an EF2, but there probably isn't strong enough winds to be one. I stayed up till about midnight. I was watching WeatherWise, which is the main weather website that I use. It's pretty reliable. And, like, I was keeping a close eye. I was like, and I was talking to my friends on Discord as well, and I would take note of when tornadoes touched down if I was awake for it. I eventually fell asleep because I was so exhausted, because the night before I had got off work at 11:30, and so, you know, I woke up at like 2 a.m. and I heard thunder, which was to be expected. A storm system / supercell wouldn't reach my location until somewhere past midnight. And at that point, it wouldn't be strong enough to spawn any kind of tornadoes. And if it did, they would be very weak, very short-lived tornadoes. And, like, I essentially had nothing to worry about. I went back upstairs at like at 6 a.m. When, you know, it wasn't a problem anymore. And, like, when I've been at work before March 30th, I'd be talking to people being like, I hope that, you know, the sun doesn't come out so that way it doesn't destabilize the atmosphere and increase the tornado risk for our area. And they'd be like, are you trying to become a weatherman? Like, are you legitimately interested in being a meteorologist? And I'd be like, no, I'd cry. Which is true. Because what's the best way to say this? I try to be more optimistic than what my brain likes to be. So I try my best not to deliver any kind of bad news at all. And, like, the best way I can explain it is, if I were a meteorologist and had to report to the National Weather Service, I'd be like, there's a chance of a tornado in Oklahoma at about 3 p.m. Like, I'd be sobbing because I'd feel so bad. And, like, the worst part about this is probably, like, it's irrational. I know it's irrational. Everybody around me tells me it's irrational. I just can't help but feel anxious about it, you know? And, like, you can't really help that, really. And, like, no amount of comfort or logic behind my fear is going to make it go away, or, like, pacify it. I mean, I go to therapy. I've been talking to my therapist about this. It's just kind of something that can't be helped because maybe of an underlying fear, maybe for this, that, and the other. But yeah. Anyway, sorry if you were looking forward to whatever April video that I had initially announced for this month. I never got around to making a script for it, and low-key forgot about it. But, I will post a improved schedule, improved slash, not necessarily refined, but more accurate video schedule for the next few months. But yeah, that might be it. Yeah, okay. I'm just gonna end it here because it's gonna get either more existential or I'm just gonna ramble. So, bye!